All right, so I want to welcome you guys back to the Bible Hangout. I am Reverend Sherry James. I'm the Senior Minister for Understanding Principle and also a co-spiritual director for Unity of the Oaks. And we have this is the Bible Hangout. So this is our first Bible Hangout for 2020, and I'm excited to be back with you, and just delighted for this new season. And who knew that we'd be coming back from a break and back to this moment in time where many of us, if not all of us, are quarantined in our homes. And so I just want to welcome you. And one of the things that I thought about, this was a few days ago, but when Reverend Johnny Coleman, who was the mentor to my spiritual mother, Reverend Dr. Delarice Lett, whenever the church was, many people were going through, say, different uh, healing challenges or prosperity challenges, she would literally pivot and do a series on health, sermon series on health, or she would pivot and do a sermon series on prosperity. And so I want to take a page out of her book and do the same thing with us, which is that we want to establish a consciousness of health and a consciousness of well-being, just all around. So health and prosperity. So for the duration of whatever this is, we're going to concentrate on healing and prosperity stories in Scripture. The other thing that Spirit gave me, so the Bible Hangout, we're in our 7th year. I've been doing this since September 2013. And so we turned 7 in September 2020. Yay. And one of the things so when we started, it was the online metaphysical Bible Hangout. Like that was that whole name, the online, and then it became the Metaphysical Bible Hangout. Then it became the Bible Hangout. But one of the things that Spirit has really given me is that this is a focus on metaphysics, and we are a small community as far as the world is concerned that still does and still respects the art and the science of metaphysical Bible interpretation. And so when I was asking Spirit about, how should we pivot for 2020, like what should be different, and the answer was that it's in the name. It's the Metaphysical Bible Hangout. And so the focus then is on metaphysics. And so we're going to pivot and we're going to really just drill down and do metaphysics like that. That's it. Till I get another direction from Spirit, that's all we're going to do. So even when we come out of this quarantine period, we will still be doing metaphysical Bible interpretation. Just may have a different focus, but for the duration, we're going to concentrate on metaphysics. And as we do anything, we open with prayer. And so I just ask if you would take a moment to just relax right where you are and just rest in the awareness that God is all there is. There is only one power, there is only one presence. There are no two, there is only one. That power, that presence is God. And if you would just allow that awareness to just bathe itself over you, just an awareness that God is all there is. And let that settle any discomfort. Let that settle any fear, any uneasiness. Just rest in the awareness that God is all there is. And that not only is God all there is, but that power and that presence has made provision for you. And you have nothing in all the world to fear. For greater is the power and the presence of God in you than anything that you would see in the world. Spirit, we thank you so much for nurturing us, for caring for us, for giving us everything that we need. We thank you for just keeping us in our right mind as the world works out whatever the world is working out. We thank you that we have the wisdom to abide in the shelter of the Almighty, to make the Most High our refuge. And the promise is that if we do, that we will be kept from all harm. And so we can boldly declare that no harm can come to us and no harm can come from us. No harm can come to us and no harm can come from us. Thank you, Spirit. And so it is. Okay, so I am, we're going to work tonight with a story that you may or may not know. It's a very, I want to say small story, but how shall I say? It's a story of the Israelites in the wilderness. And it's one particular area. It's found in Exodus chapter 15, verses 22 to 27. Exodus chapter 15, verses 22 to 27. I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to read from the New King James Version. And I am using that because that is, well, Fillmore used the American Standard Version, the ASV, but we're going to pull from the New King James Version. The ASV is an update of the King James Version. So the NKJV does about the same thing that does. And so I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to share this with you. And I want you to know there's a lot of information to go through. So I'm actually figuring out how to teach this information to you, meaning that I had planned to do a PowerPoint and then realize that okay, I didn't know what was like too much information. So as we go over the next few weeks, I'll get better at like how we share this information, because I want to make sure that you know how to do metaphysical Bible interpretation. I want to give you your own scriptures that you're going to work with and come back with each week that you're going to work with and develop. But this is the scripture. It's Exodus chapter 15, verse 22 to 27. And again, I'm reading from the New King James Version. So Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea. Then they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. Now, when they came to Marah, they could not drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore, the name of it was called Marah. And the people complained against Moses, saying, "What shall we drink?" So he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. When he cast it into the waters were made sweet. There he made a statute and an ordinance for them. And there he tested them and said, "If you diligently heed the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in his sight, give ear to his commandments and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you which I have brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you." Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 wells of water and 70 palm trees. So they camped there by the waters. So the first thing that you want to do with metaphysical Bible interpretation is that you want to select the passage of scripture that you intend to use. So again, we chose Exodus chapter 15, verses 22 to 27. And you want to start by identifying the key words. And I want to identify a book that I want to bring to your attention. Some of you may have this in your library, but this is going to be a text that we're going to go to a lot because it is an excellent reference manual for how to do metaphysical Bible interpretation. And so I want to encourage you to just have this in your library. Wisdom for a Lifetime, Alden Studebaker. Wisdom for a Lifetime, Alden Studebaker. And the subtitle is How to Get the Bible Off the Shelf and Into Your Hands. The whole book is fascinating, but the method for metaphysical Bible interpretation comes from chapter 9, the uniqueness of metaphysical interpretation. So we're going to be following that format for all of the metaphysical interpretation that we do. And like I said, as we go, I'll have PowerPoints and things like that to make it easier for you to follow along. But today there was so much information. It was like, okay, what, because when you'll see what I'm talking about when you start to define the words. But the first thing, there are 4 steps to metaphysical Bible interpretation. The first step is just to determine the passage of scripture that you want to focus on, which we've done. The second thing that you want to do is you want to identify the key words and phrases. So if we go back to that scripture, oh, I should have done that. I should have done that, and I didn't do that. If we go back to that scripture, there are a number of keywords. For sure, we would look up all of the proper names. So Moses, Israel, Red Sea, Shur, Marah, Lord, Egyptians. So we would look up all of those words. But then we would also look up key, what we call common nouns, like wilderness, 3 days, water, because what you're looking for is you're looking for words and phrases that are key to the story, and especially those that repeat. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'll want to take a break and go to truthunity.net. Truthunity.net, if you don't already know, is an amazing resource put together by Reverend Mark Hicks. Is it Unity of Baltimore, that the name of the church there? I don't want to get the name wrong. The Unity in one of the Unity churches in Baltimore, and this is something that he put together that is an amazing resource. I cannot say enough good things about this resource because it's free. And it has the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, it has the Revealing Word, it has the version of the Bible that Fillmore used, which is the American Standard Version, and it has all of that, and it's hyperlinked. So it's really, really powerful. It's just a powerful tool. So if you can see the area that is just here, chapter 15. So what I did is I went to Truth Unity and I looked this, Exodus. And so if you can see all of the hyperlinked words, those are the key words. There are other keywords to look up, and we'll get into that. But if you were studying a passage of scripture and you wanted to say, hey, what words should I look up for metaphysical interpretation to help me interpret the scripture? You could go to Truth Unity, pull up the ASV. In fact, let me just go through the process. So Truth Unity. So if you go to the main website page, this is Mark's picture here on the right-hand side. And under faith is the word, a drop-down menu, choose Bible. And you'll see the ASV. This is, again, the Bible, the American Standard Version that Fillmore used. The future class, I can talk about different translations and help you. I just finished a walk through that. And so it took me to Exodus chapter 15. And so every word that's in the scripture that is referenced in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary or that's referenced in the Revealing Word, you're going to find hyperlinked in the scripture. So the portion that we're working with is verse 22 to 27. And so that's here. So every word in this right column that is hyperlinked is a word that you would look up to help you with the metaphysical interpretation. So this is a really, really simple way of looking at what word should I look up. There's some other words because it looks like he used a computer program to like cross-reference the words that were in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary versus the words that are in the scripture. So there are some words that are missed, like where's one? Eyes, because I is what's in the Revealing Word versus eyes. heal. Heal is in the revealing word. So there are things like that. So those are ones that you'll want to look up. So that's part two. Or step two, excuse me. So step one is select and read the scripture. We did that. Step two is to identify the key words and phrases. And so a simple, easy way to make sure you get most things, maybe not everything, is to go to Truth Unity, pull it up, and it'll give you the key words and phrases. And then step three, which is what we're going to concentrate on tonight, is to develop interpretations for the words. So I took this passage and I put it into my into a Google document. And in that document, what I did was I went through and I started slotting in all of the words, all of the definitions. So every definition that I have here is from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, or it's from the Revealing Word. Okay, and so I put it in red. Let me get to view. I don't have to do that. Is that big enough? Okay. Okay. I'm hoping that you guys can see that really clearly. And so we're just going to go scripture line by scripture line. And so if you look and see, it says, so let's just deal with the first verse. It says, so Moses brought, so what's in black is the scripture, and what's in red is from either the Revealing Word or it's from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. Can I push it? No, I guess I can't. All right. So let's start. It says, so Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea. So the definition for Moses at this point, when he is grown, and this is from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, versus when Moses is a child, because his meaning changes, his metaphysical meaning changes as he ages. The grown Moses represents an understanding of truth. The grown Moses represents an understanding of truth, or you could think of it as a progressive or drawing out process which works from within outward. So it's that element in consciousness, that element in you that understands the truth, that element in you that knows that no matter what the external picture is, that everything is already all right. The understanding in you that recognizes that if a problem has appeared, there must be a solution, because nothing appears on the three-dimensional plane without its opposite. So Moses brought Israel. Israel represents the spiritual consciousness in its ideal, but it's an unfolding spiritual consciousness. So you can think of it as like a seed thought that the children of Israel collectively represent spiritual consciousness. But what we're watching when they're moving out of Egypt and moving into the promised land is we are watching the evolution of spiritual consciousness. So all of us have a level of spiritual consciousness that must be evolved, so that it manifests in a greater way. So Moses brought Israel, which represents the spiritual consciousness, from the Red Sea. And the Red Sea represents a fixed sea of universal thought that has become part of the very world in which we live. There is a fixed sea of universal thought. There's a thought that's happening right now about dis-ease, about health, about finances, all of that's happening right now. It's a fixed sea. And you can feel it if you turn on your Facebook, or if you turn on Instagram, or if you turn on the TV, or you put on anything, you almost can't get away from this fixed sea of universal thought. And I put this in the DI recently. I said that it used to be that the way that you avoided the negativity of the news, because the news has a mentality that if it bleeds, it leads, right? So if it's about some type of tragedy, then you start the news program with the tragedy, because that's going to hook people in for whatever else follows. So the solution for escaping the if it bleeds, it leads mentality used to be turning off the news. Well, one day I realized I was going through my social media feed, and it was this mix of positive, that in order to catch up on the positive that was happening with my friends, I also had to accept to a certain degree the negative that comes with it. It was no longer this clean feed of just positive news. And so the fixed sea of universal thought is this fixed consciousness that everything is scary and the numbers are doubling, and and it's like a blaring, somebody on a megaphone. And so what Moses does is that he leads spiritual consciousness away from the Red Sea. So that's the action that's happening. Whenever you're doing metaphysical interpretation, it's always giving you a movement in mind. It's always giving you a movement in mind. We're coming up off of the literal aspect of the story, coming up off of the the historical aspect of the story, and we're looking for a revelation about the mysteries of the mind and how the mind works. So what's happening in this story is Moses, who represents the understanding of truth, is taking spiritual consciousness, which might be in its infancy, and it is for the Israelites at this point, because they just got out of the Red Sea or just crossed it, and he's leading them from the Red Sea. And then it says, then they went out into the wilderness. Now, the wilderness is a place in consciousness where you have this multitude of undisciplined and uncultivated thoughts. What do I mean by that? I mean that you are, your mind is all over the place. 1 minute you're positive, the next minute you're negative. 1 minute you're focused on God is all there is. The next minute you are, letting the data about COVID-19, send you into a tizzy. So it's undisciplined. It's a mixture of good and bad, and it just depends on what the outer trigger is, because there's been no discipline to the thinking. But they went, I'm continuing the scripture, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. Now, Shur, S-H-U-R, is a proper name, and it is an unceasing progress. It's an unfoldment. It's a development of humankind. And it says, and they went 3 days. When it says 3 days, 3 days, it means 3 degrees are the parts of human consciousness. I have some additional information to give you on that. Hold on, I'm gonna look up a couple things on my phone. So first of all, the 3 days, whenever you see 3 days, it always represents 3 movements. There's always some type of process that's happening. And so that's what's being revealed here, is that there's a process that's happening in the wilderness of Shur. And it's so just reading the verse completely, it says, they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. Water represents life or vital energy. And so what is being revealed here in the story is that there is this process that's happening where they have come out of the fixed thought that's happening at the Red Sea of limitation. The revealing word, or the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary says the Red Sea represents the sum of all the thoughts about life with which the race has impregnated the universal ether. So we're experiencing that right now. There's these thoughts that have impregnated the universal, they're just everywhere. You can't even escape the conversation on COVID-19. It's there, right? And so Moses, this understanding of truth, is leading them away from that into a place where he can work with them. And so at the Wilderness of Shur, it says unceasing progress. And then again, it just reiterates those 3 days. There are those 3 degrees apart. So he's working with spirit, soul, and body. And they get to a place in consciousness where they feel depleted. They find no water. You know, water replenishes. Water can be negative or positive. In this instance, it's being spoken about in a positive way, or what it could be positively for the people. That they did all of this work in consciousness, and it's like they hit a rock bottom. Is essentially what happened. Where we've come out of Egypt. We've survived the Red Sea. Our captors have been drowned or demolished or done away with. They can't get to us. We've come to this place and we're doing all these things that you're telling us. We're going through all of these motions that you're telling us. But now we're at the place where we don't have what we need. We don't have any water. It is very possible that some of us may hit that place or may be headed to that place in consciousness. Depending on the habits that we have, as we talk about the fallout from jobs and the grinding to a halt of the economy and all of that. And so they get to this place where they find no life. They find no vital energy. So that's verse 22. Something I would say about metaphysical interpretation. Metaphysical interpretation does not ignore the literal interpretation. Every word is a combination of 2 things. It's a combination of the literal definition of the word and how the word or the place or the person or the thing functions in the story. And so the metaphysical definition is always a marriage of those 2 things. So even if you get to a place where you find a word that needs to be defined, but it doesn't show up in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, you can reasonably develop a metaphysical definition for it if you go back to the literal and marry it with how it functions in the story. And so the definition for sure is not something that Fillmore is pulled out of the air. It actually makes use of the literal Hebrew meaning of the word shur. And same thing for all of the other words as well: wilderness, water, 3 day, all of that. Let me ask if there are any questions before I go forward. Is everybody following? This is making sense. Hope this is helping.
Outstanding.
Okay. You guys put things in the chat or let me know if there are any questions.
Reverend Sherry?
Good. Yes.
Can you repeat that last part that you said about how you can figure out the metaphysical part?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the metaphysical definition is not something that's pulled out of the air. I think that, well, anyway, I know I'm going to go into that. That's politics. So the metaphysical definition is always a combination of the actual definition of the word, like the literal meaning of the Hebrew word, and how the person, place, or thing functions in the story. So it's a combination of those 2 things. And so something like water, sometimes water is positive and sometimes water is negative. And so you'll actually see that sometimes water, like for example, we're going to get to this in verse 23 where the water is negative, but the water can also be positive. And again, it all depends on how it's used in the story. Fifi said, had problems logging on and you have audio problems now. Okay. All right, great. And so just so you know, this is being recorded. So you'll have this, will be on Facebook and YouTube later. Okay, moving on to verse 23. Now when they came to Marah, they could not drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore, the name of it was called Marah, and the people complained. I went up too ahead. And then therefore the name of it was called Marah. Okay, now when they came to Marah, so every time you see a group of people move from one place to the next, you're looking at a movement in consciousness. So spiritual consciousness is going through this evolutionary process where it's developing. And so they come out of the victory of the Red Sea, but now there's more development that has to be done. And I think any one of us can attest to that, where, we left a job or left a relationship or something, and it was like, victory, got away from my captors. And then we basically get hit with or faced with all of the lessons that we now need to learn at this next level in consciousness. And that's what's happening here. They've come out of the Red Sea. They've had the victory of the Red Sea, but now they have to meet the challenges of this moment and grow into this moment. And so what we're seeing is a growing into this moment. So it says, now when they came to Marah, Marah means represents or symbolizes the bitterness, the trouble, the sickness, and the misery that those who pollute the waters of life with impure, rebellious, darkened error thoughts and beliefs bring on themselves. And so I want to back up just a second here and remind you that they're in the wilderness. Remember what I said, they have a multitude of undisciplined and uncultivated thoughts. So they've got these mixture of thoughts, some good, some bad, some in between. It's a mixture, but they don't yet have the discipline to think good only. And so when they come to Marah, they basically have come to the place and consciousness where they have to deal with all of those bitter, troublesome, sick, and misery-filled thoughts that have polluted the waters of life. They found no water. They get to a place where there is water. They can't drink the water because they can't take advantage of what's there because they've got this mixed consciousness. So it's like coming out of you'll see that someone come out of a relationship. It wasn't necessarily the greatest relationship, but they got free, so now they're free. They're in the next relationship, but they bring in all the baggage of the old relationship. They bring in all the stuff that they used to talk about, they used to think about, into the new experience. And so at Marah, what's happening is that they're having to basically slough off or get rid of or release all those bitter, troublesome, sick, and misery-filled thoughts that have polluted the waters of life. They could not drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore, the name means nature. The nature of this place is called Marah. Marah is that place in consciousness where it's you're in a place and there's potential good, but there's something in the consciousness that's blocking your ability to take advantage of the good. There's something in the consciousness that is keeping you from going to the next level. You know that there is more available, but there's a skill missing or there's a mindset missing. I'm running through my mind for another example to kind of like drive this home. And so this is what's happening. And I want you to get that that every time we're doing metaphysical Bible interpretation, we're always dealing with a revelation of what you should be doing in your mind, of a process that's happening in mind, and then how you respond to that process that's happening in mind. So I want you to see yourself in this story because you are Israel who Moses or that, and you are Moses, and you are guiding that spiritual consciousness in you to a place where it can manifest at a higher level. Questions? I can't hear you. Say it again, Constance. Go ahead.
No questions, but it's setting my soul on fire.
Yeah, right. You rocking so hard it ain't funny. It's like this is past divine order. I'm just tripping.
Oh, bless you for that.
I mean, a couple of times I almost cried. It was revealing. Let's keep going. Can't waste no time. Let's go.
Hey, wait, no time. All right, let's go. Let's go. So the water, it's the place in consciousness where you have to deal with you. And then let's go to verse 25. So Moses, complained against, I'm sorry, verse 24, I apologize. And the people complained against Moses, saying, "What shall we drink?" The people represent our thoughts, and Moses represents the understanding of truth. And this is that place in consciousness where you've done every affirmation you know to do. You done prayed every prayer you know to pray. You have tithed, you have done all the stuff that you know to do, and still the water is too bitter to drink, or you're not able to take advantage of the place that you're in. You can see the opportunity, but you can't lay hold of the opportunity. And it's that place where you just feel that sense of frustration, that sense of what gives. And so this is what's happening here, that they've come from the Red Sea, they've been delivered, they've had that victory, they've done all of the work in the wilderness of Shur. Now they've come to Marah, and so they're in a place of potential opportunity, and they can't take advantage of the opportunity. And so they cry out or complain like, you told me to do all of this. You told me to do the affirmations. You told me to get up every morning and do my meditation. You told me to, and I done done all that, Pastor, and I don't have any results. So now what? So that's what's happening here in verse 24. So he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. When he cast it into the waters were made sweet. There he made a statute and an ordinance for them, and there he tested them. Okay, so this verse is a lot to unpack here. So I'm gonna go right up to where the waters were made sweet. So the Lord represents the spiritual I am. The Lord is a spiritual I am. When you're reading scripture, you can literally just substitute the word I am, and it'll unlock a different meaning for you. This is from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. It says, it was at Marah, after the sweetening of the waters so that the Israelites could drink, that Jehovah, or I am, revealed this truth to them. If you will diligent, and we'll get to that. But Jehovah here represents the Lord, the divine law, the divine principle in action. It manifests in and through humankind according to a person's conception of it and of himself in relation to it, and according to the innermost thoughts and desires of his mind and heart. So Jehovah here, or I am here, in the ASV, it's translated as Jehovah. In the New King James Version, it's translated as the Lord. But in either version, what it represents is the name of God, which is I am. And so Moses, the understanding of truth. So this is where your people, that voice of frustration in you, that voice of disappointment, that voice of impatience that wants it now, right? That voice complains against the you that's trying to live your life in agreement with principle. That voice complains against the you that says, God has this, that they can close every business in this country, they can close every business in the world, and I'll still be provided for, right? there's the you that knows that everything's going to be all right, but there's also the you that's watching all the dominoes fall. And that you that's watching all the dominoes fall, that's getting caught up in the world and what the world thinks and all of that, that part of you is fearful, is concerned, and it begins to cry out or complain against the part of you that understands that everything is going to be all right. And so what the passage is showing us is that the part of you that knows that everything is going to be all right needs to get in touch with I am. Like your next step, when you have done all that you know to do, really before you've done all that you know to do, but let's say you get to the place where you've done all that you know to do and you hit your brick wall, is to cry out to, or to reach out to in consciousness to I am. And this is the spiritual I am. And what the spiritual I am is going to give you is a tree. Now, a tree is metaphysically represents thinking. It's that connecting link between earth and heaven. It's going to, I am is going to reveal something to you. It's that connecting link between body and mind, between the formless and formed. So the Moses, that understanding of truth, cries out to I am, and I am reveals a way to think. I hope you heard that.
I am. Yes. Yes.
Got it. So I want to sit here for 1 second, because this is my own personal testimony. So I had a car that was on its last leg, and it was going down, and it was going down fast. And so the transmission was falling out, about to, seemed like it was about to fall out. And I couldn't pass inspection, so I couldn't get new stickers. Okay. So, but I still had to drive to work and go to all the places that I needed to go. So not only am I a hazard on the road with the car potentially conking out, but I'm also a ticket waiting to happen because I don't have the current stickers. And I literally would just pray on the way to work, like, just get me there. Let the car drive and don't let any cops see me. Okay. I don't know if anybody's been there, but that was the reality. And it was time for a new car. And when I looked at the money substance, it looked like the money substance that was available would not provide for a new car. So I cried out to I am, and the idea that came back was to make a vision board for the car that you want. I wish I had, it's upstairs, I can't go get it right now. And I made a vision board, put the car on it that I wanted, and decorated it, and put my affirmations and my scriptures around it. And that was the thing that I sat down with, and I would talk to the board like, okay, thank you for the spirit, for the ideas, or however this is going to come about. And one day, it wasn't very long, but shortly after I made the board, I got the idea to reach out to this program in Los Angeles that was called Replace Your Ride, or in California. And I had forgotten about the program. I hadn't thought about it in years. And I put my name in the program, and it was like, well, we can hook you up in 10 months. I'm thinking 10 months? The transmission is about to go, and the cops gonna get me if the transmission, like, what? And literally the car ran until the day I carried it to the junkyard. To the day. Like, I drove on the lot and the car stopped driving. No tickets. So my point is that if you reach for I am will tell you how to think. And you have to have the audacity to follow the instructions that you get, because to hear the instructions, make a vision board. No, I need a car. Okay. But listen, because I have learned to be obedient, guess what I made? I made that board. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. It's that place where you have reached in consciousness, where there is, you have reached out, and what comes back is how to think. God is not the giver of things. God is the giver of new ways to think.
Ideas.
Yes. Yes. Hear that when, and so in this moment that we're in, where it seems like everything is shutting down, and how am I going to provide for myself, and what's going to happen to me, and this thing is going to go on forever, and even when we come back, and you know the conversation that's happening. What you want to do is to reach out to I am and ask for your tree. And whatever the answer is, follow it. And it may be something as, in my mind, that felt crazy as make a vision board. And what you have to do is have the faith to make the board. Because for me, the board, it might have been, I mean, it was very short. It was not a long time. Like it might have been the day after I made the board, or 2 days after I made the board, came the remembrance of this program that somebody had told me about 2 years ago. And so, okay, anyway, I didn't hit that all over the head. So what happens is that when they get that tree, which represents a type of thinking, it's a thinking is your connecting link, right? Thinking is how you get out of God what it is that you want and need. How you think about the idea of transportation determines the type of car you get out of God. How you think about the idea of health determines the type of body you get out of God. How you think about money determines the type of money that you get out of God. Do you hear that? And when I say God, I'm not talking about a man in the sky. I'm talking about universal essence. I'm talking about all the presence there is, that you may shape your good in whatever way you want to, but it's going to be shaped according to your thinking. So when you're reaching out to I am, what you're asking for is a higher and better way to think, because how you thought up till now has brought you to the place of opportunity, which is what Marah represents. But it's an opportunity you can't do anything with, because for you, because of the way you think right now, it's bitter. And so when Moses, when the understanding of truth cast the tree in the waters represent potential, right? Or life or vitality. When he cast the tree into the waters were made sweet. And so I want you to get also that they didn't have to go anywhere in order to take advantage of the good that was there. The grass is greener somewhere else, and the grass is green where you are. You just need to put the tree in the water. You just need to put the new idea from I am in the waters that you're already swimming in, and they will make the waters that you're already swimming in sweet. And so you'll be able to take advantage of right where you are. It's right where I am is all the opportunity that I will ever need. What I need the eyes to see the opportunity that's present. That's what I need. I need the eyes to see what is already there.
Reverend Sherry?
Yes.
I have 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
So here in the lesson, it refers to the Lord as the spiritual I am. Is there another type of I am? And my second question is, does see, I can't, can you page down so I can see a little bit more?
This way or the other way?
Where the tree, we were talking about the tree, I'm sorry. The tree represents.
Oh, right here?
Okay, the connecting link. Okay, mm-hmm. So in the Bible, does a tree always represent a connecting link? Because I know there's a lot of trees in the Bible. So those are my 2 questions.
Yes. And so when you're looking at the different trees, they represent types of connection.
Can that also be imagination? The power of mind linked with the power to shape and form?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I guess I've never seen it used that way, but I would guess that it could be thought of that way. But the different trees represent different types of thinking. I should have copied this part. If you go to the metaphysical definition of, where is that? Oh, I know where. Hold on. I'm gonna go back to Truth Unity. If you go to Truth Unity and go to, I think, the definition for Marah.
But everything you're saying about tree is locked into the vitality and the energy and the life, just like a tree planted by the river, I
Yeah,
will not be moved. The tree
yeah,
of life is all an energy. It's all a vitality. You got life right there, and vitality is right there. I see how you connected it, and I'm really feeling where you're going with all of this. It's
thank,
refreshing.
thank you, thank you. I think it's Elam, so let me go here. Yeah, it's Elam. So Elam, we haven't gotten to this part yet, Jack, but if you look here for the definition, it says metaphysically. So again, remember what I said, it always takes off of the literal and how it functions in the story. So the metaphysical definition is going to give you a pronunciation key. The root of the word, it's a Hebrew root. Literally, it means terebinths. It means palm trees, or it means, that's the literal meaning of the word Elam. Then it's going to give you how it's used in scripture, which is that second paragraph. And it's the second camping place of the Israelites after they crossed the Red Sea and they came to Elam, where there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters. Metaphysically, Elam means a realization of fullness of life, strength, and cleansing truth for the whole man. Also a realization of victory. 12 is a number representing fullness in the spiritual. Springs of water stand for life and cleansing. The oaks signify strength and protection, and the palm trees denote victory. So it depends on the type of tree. It's always a type of thinking, but different trees represent different types of thinking.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go back. That's not what I want. All right, am I back on the page? Can you guys see the Google Doc?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Okay, great. All right, so he cried out
So
to
the
I
other
am,
question
and
had,
I am.
spiritual.
Oh, go ahead. Uh-huh.
So it says spiritual I am as though there's another type of I am.
Oh no, I just copied what they said in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. And I just put spiritual I am, but no, there's not another type of I am.
Okay.
Yeah. If you go to Lord, Lord, in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, it's like literally several columns there. And so I just put spiritual I am, but no, there's not a different kind of I am. So he cried out to I am, and I am showed him a new way to think. When he cast the new thinking into the waters were made sweet. Then what happens is it says there he made a statute and an ordinance. Now, an ordinance is an established rule or divine law for them, and he tested them. So one of the things, and I think is really powerful, is that when you have a victory, right? What you want to do is you want to create a rule for how you got to your victory, which means that you have to study yourself.
Yep.
So what you want to get to, a lot of people think that you want to get to unconscious competence, right? Where you just can do it in your sleep. But I'm going to challenge you to say what you want to get to is conscious competence, because you want to understand why it's working, and so that you can duplicate it. Yeah. And so when it says that he made a statute and an ordinance for them, it's that basically he set up some global rules. And my card is over on the table, but one of the things that I've been working on for this time period, because I'm effectively homeschooling. So we here now. You gotta go with it. We're homeschooling. So it's been a challenge, because guess what I don't have as a single mom? Somebody to like give me some relief so I can get my work done. So literally every night I make a schedule and I have a whiteboard. You can't see it over here. I have a whiteboard and then it's 3 columns: the time, me, Jordan. And then I have what I'm doing from 6 a.m. down to like 9 p.m. And I have what he's doing from 6 a.m. down to like 9 p.m. And it has been a work of heart to make it through that schedule. And then many times, like there's some days where I'm like, you know what, he won, uncle, you know. And then there are times where I'm like, yeah, I got this. But what I've been doing is that every night after I make the schedule and I go through the experience, then what I do is I sit down and I study myself and I say, okay, what did I do well? What needs fixing? Because you know what I'm saying? What needs fixing? And then I brainstorm solutions. And so one of the global rules that I realized was that that I have to get up earlier than him, and I have to make the schedule the night before. So because if I don't make the schedule the night before, then once I get up, the day is already going.
Yeah.
If I don't get up before him, then I don't get in my morning routine before he hits the floor, right? And so those are global rules for me. But the way that I was able to discern that is literally every night at the end of the night, I evaluate how did I honor the schedule. And how I got to the place where I realized I needed to make a schedule every day is, guess what? I woke up one morning and tried to make the schedule in the morning, and then that just messed everything up. So again, the setting this ordinance is about self-study. So it's about what did we do at Marah that allowed us to unlock the opportunity at Marah. Jack, you got your hand up, or is it maybe Saba?
No, I'm sorry. That was from earlier.
Oh, okay. Got it. So what happens is that when you get to Marah, which is a place of opportunity, and you work through what you got to let go of in order to take advantage of the opportunity, then what you want to do is you want to set some global rules for how you want to go forward, and you want to write them down, put them on a card. Like I said, my card is over on the other table over there, so I don't have time to get up and go get it and show it to you. But literally, I have Sherry scheduling rules for like how you manage the day. So because you need to know how and why you're having success. All right, moving on to verse 26, and let me know if I'm going too fast. But I'm mindful of the time. If it's okay with you guys, I'll go a little bit past, maybe 10 after, if that's okay.
Sherry, you know we used to go having a 2-hour class.
Yeah. Right. Right. I just want to honor everybody's time. That's all.
I know.
So if it gets to be too much, just let me know, and I'll okay. All right, so moving on to verse 26. So he gives them the rule, and this is the rule. The verse says, and said, if you diligently heed the voice, if you diligently heed the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in his sight, give ear to his commandments and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you which I have brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. So voice from the revealing word is a still small voice in every person that hears and blesses and uplifts. Lord, again, is that I am. Do what is right. Right is the right side. The right side is always the side of truth, the side of power. So, that the right, so what's the right side of this moment right now? Well, the right side of this moment right now is that God is all there is. The right side of this moment right now is that there are no incurables. The right side of this moment right now is there's no such thing as a problem without its corresponding solution. The right side right now is that that I have the ability with my own spoken word to basically cover my environment, that I can speak the word before I walk in the grocery store, before I go in the post office, or wherever my essential place is. The right side is the truth that does not care what the fact is. In his sight, give ear to his commandments. Commandments metaphysically represent the law or an orderly working out of divine principle. So there is a law that governs health. There is a way that you need to think about your body in order to demonstrate health in your body. There's a way that you need to think about money in order to demonstrate wealth in your money. And keep all his statutes. So that phrase, to keep all his statutes, means to command, to control, and to direct every thought according to the harmonious law of love, one to another. I will put none of the diseases. The word disease metaphysically represents an inharmonious condition in mind and body brought about by error thinking. The Egyptians, the Egyptian is a word in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, and it basically is sense thought, or it's the subjective consciousness in its unawakened state. And then it says, for I am, this is God's name in humankind, the true spiritual man whom God made in his image likeness. And this is like, I am that I am. I am the Lord. I am that I am. Who heals. To heal means to make whole, to bring forth the perfect Christ man that exists within each of us. Okay, so those are the definitions. Now, just going back to the top of 26, so there's a lot here. So basically, it's saying that if you listen to my voice, and I want you to get that there are a multitude of voices in the world right now. There's the voice that is parroting all of the paranoia around this thing that's happening. There's the voice that says that it's a hoax, don't believe it. There's a voice that says that stay in your house, be afraid. There's a voice that says, I mean, there's a multitude of voices. And what the rule is that if you listen to the still small voice, the still small voice is in every person. There's no one that is exempt. And if you listen, this voice listens to you, and it blesses you and it uplifts you. And so that voice will guide you as to how you are to proceed in this moment. And so if you look at the news, you are looking at the news for information to take back to I am. Hear that. You're not looking to the news for guidance on how you need to move in the world. You're looking at the news to take everything that you do, everything that you read, that you study, that you take it back to the I am of your being. And you have a conversation with God about how you are supposed to proceed. And so, for example, I have heard that there's a call to, reopen the country by April 12th. Did I am tell you to reopen your house by April 12th? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not listening to man for my guidance. I'm not listening to another human. I'm listening to the still small voice within me. And the still small voice within me is very clear. And so, and I'm going to follow the guidance here. I'm not, all the banks in the world can close. Let all that stuff shut down. I will still be provided for. Do you hear what I'm saying? So, Spirit may tell me to reopen my house before April 12th. But again, I'm not moving according to what a person tells me. I'm moving according to what the Spirit tells me. And so it says that if you diligently listen to the voice, pay attention to, heed would be a word to look up, just to get some real clarity around that. Yes, take everything back to I am. Thank you, Jack. Or Sable, whoever typed that in. Take everything back to I am. It says if you're heed to what you hear, right? You listen, and then you do what is right? You do what is in accord with spiritual law in the sight of I am, and you give ear to. So I'm living to please I am, to get into harmony with I am, and not like a disembodied force, but where I'm cooperating. I'm speaking about cooperation the way that you would cooperate with the seed that you were trying to turn into a tree. So when we talk, because I understand that there's a way that people talk about in the sight of God and doing what is right in the sight of God and listening and giving ear to his commandments. And it's usually a picture of a man in the sky, usually white with a beard. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about cooperation, where if you were working with an apple seed, that you got to manage the apple seed according to the way the apple seed has to be managed. And so if you don't give it the right soil, if you don't give it the right water, if you don't give it the right sunlight, then if you don't give it that right combination, you ain't getting an apple orchard. You're not getting an apple tree, and you're certainly not getting an apple. So that's what I mean by when it says that you do what is right in his sight and give ear to his commandments, is that you're cooperating with I am according to the seed that you're planting. So we're planting a seed of health. So there are things that we must do to cooperate and to receive the fruit of that seed of health. And then it says to keep all his statutes. And this is really important: to command, to control, to direct every thought according to the harmonious law of love one to another. The only law there is the law of love. The only law there is. Love is all there is, because God is all there is. And so Reverend Sheree has been challenging everybody to let love take over. And so you are allowing love to guide you and living in that space of love. And if you live and abide in that space of love, then you will be led into right places. And so you spend time bathing yourself in love, bathing yourself in the drippings of spirit. You know how this is gonna sound country. You know how y'all, anybody stop biscuits? Anybody stop biscuits? No, nobody stops biscuits anymore. Is that just me? Okay. I grew up and we had the gravy, and we would sop the biscuit in the gravy, but it would be yeah, thank you, Carter. Carter know what I'm talking about. Okay. Somebody knows. Yes, I don't care, Jack. I'm saying that's what you need to do with the love of God. And you may do that through music. You may do that through dance. You may do that through positive conversations with people that you love and that love you. But you are just, it's where you come up out of the love of God, and you just dripping with love, just love and love everywhere, and get on everything you touch. Whatever you touch is just, you're just saturated and soaked in it. So think of it like sopping yourself in the love of God. That's what you want to. Now, if you start your day like that, you don't have to worry about where you go, because you will be led into right places, because you've now been conditioned for the love of God. You've been conditioned to be led only into the places of love. Okay, and so the promise then is protection. So again, don't get caught up in, I will put none of the diseases on you, because we're not talking about a God that determines your experience. God does not determine your experience. God is absolute good. You determine your experience by the way that you think. But the promise is that if you think in accord with the law and the life and the love of God, then you will be protected from those inharmonious conditions that those that are in the unawakened state, because there are people that are walking in an unawakened state who think that they have to run scared of this moment. The promise is that none of that will come near you. This definitely harkens to the 91st Psalm, that I'm protected at all times. My house is protected. My car is protected. I am protected. My child is protected. My church is protected. All the people in my church are protected. Do you get what I'm saying? It's realizing that I have a part to play in my protection from what's going on in this moment. And my part is to think right. My part is to operate in my mind in the right way, so that I'm not even brought into the sphere of influence of the nonsense that's going on. And then this is something you'll see, it's always a refrain, for I am the Lord who heals you, or I am the Lord who makes you do it. This is something that's common in the Hebrew scriptures. But the promise is that I am this name, this nature, this true spiritual man in whom God made in his image likeness. I am that I am who heals you. So that I am who makes you whole. Not a person, but a consciousness, but an awareness that you are made whole by the awareness of God. And then it says, then they came to Elim, which is a realization of the fullness of life, strength, and cleansing truth for the whole person. Also a realization of victory, where there were 12, and 12 is a number that represents fullness in the spiritual. Wells of water, or springs of water. Those springs of water stand for life and cleansing. And 70 palm trees. Those trees represent victory. And so they camped by the waters, the life and the cleansing. So there's a movement in consciousness. They've come out of the victory of the Red Sea, but now they have run into having to deal with their own limitations and consciousness. And so they're in the wilderness of Shur. And they do all the work in the wilderness of Shur, and they end up at Marah. They're at this place of opportunity. There's water there, but now they can't unlock the water. They can't unlock the opportunity because of the thinking. And so they reach out to I am through the understanding of truth. And I am gives them a tree. The tree represents a new way to think. The tree is cast into the waters. It's basically the new way of thinking is applied to where they are. And they are now able to drink the waters. And now what they do is that they solidify what they learn by making new rules for how they're going to be handled, or how they're going to move forward in the coming, for the rest of their lives. And in doing that and in honoring that, they then move to Elim, which is a place of victory. It's this realization of the fullness of life, of strength, and cleansing truth for the whole person. It's victory. They've moved to a space of victory. And so this is a movement in mind. Emily Cady says, victory is first won in the silence of your own being. So your victory over this moment, your victory over whatever you want to name it, COVID-19, coronavirus, the Rona, whatever you want to name it, your victory over it is first won in the silence of your own being. And so you have to go to the I am of your being, struggle with your own, and when I say struggle, I mean work with your own fears and worries and concerns, deal with that, and then free yourself and move so that you may unlock the opportunity that's here now. Now, your struggle may not be a health struggle, because maybe you got such a rock solid consciousness of health. Listen, I already know God is my health. I can't be sick, right? Maybe you're that person, but maybe you're not that person that maybe finances is the thing that you struggle with. And so you need some help remembering that just like God healed you, God will also prosper you. And so right now you can unlock whatever money it is that you need. This week, as I was, working through my prayer time and, reflecting on this moment, the thing that Spirit gave me is that ain't no money left the planet. No money, not $1 has left the planet. All the money that was here last week is here this week. All the money that was here 2 weeks ago is here today. And so what has changed, though, are the channels by which the money flows. And so what we're asking for now, what the tree you need from I am is the tree that unlocks the money from the channel that you're meant to take advantage of now, right? That's what you're looking for. No money has left the planet. You are not in danger of falling apart. You are not in danger of bankruptcy and all those other things. What you need is show me the new way that you want me to receive. Show me the new channel that I'm meant to draw money from. If the job dried up, let it go. It was on its way out anyway. So now give me something that is better, that is more sustaining, and that is more enriching.
This is such a great lesson, such a timely lesson for what's going on in the world today. And as I'm reflecting on what you taught tonight, it made me think about all of the similarities to what we're seeing in our world today, where so many people are, right there at the edge of the Red Sea or in the middle of the Red Sea. And so eventually we're going to come out of it. We're going to cross the Red Sea. We're going to be on the other side. But then so many people are still going to be lost and confused about what to do, because and the water will taste bitter, and on and on and on. So many similarities to what's happening right now. So I hope you'll teach this lesson again and again, because it will definitely be needed.
Yes. So this is my commitment for the Bible Hangout. So the first thing is that we are going to focus on metaphysical Bible interpretation. So I'm being brought back to my original focus. The second thing is that for the duration of whatever this is, that we're going to concentrate on healing and prosperity stories. When Johnny Coleman, when people in the church you should have a series of deaths or a series of hospitalizations or whatever, she would pivot and do a sermon series on healing. Or if there was some money challenges or the money got low, she would pivot and do a series on prosperity. So, because what the thing is that the way that you build up consciousness for what you want is you study it. So I want to make sure that me and you have a firm foundation in health and prosperity, because God is our health, God is our money. We can't be sick and we can't be broke. Carter, you were going to say something?
Rockin'. We have this grass called Zoe.
Mm-hmm.
Know about the grass?
No.
Zoe is a grass that in the winter, it turns white, all white.
Really? I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And then when the seasons change, when it's time come like now, it turns beautiful green. And it doesn't care about what's going on in the news. It doesn't care about what's going on next door. It doesn't care about the rain. It doesn't care about if you got a job or not. It just turns green. That's our true nature. Our true nature is to stay in tune and not worry about what's going on outside. Our true nature will connect.
Yes.
And I saw that today in the lesson.
How do you spell that?
I think it's Z-O-E or Z-O.
Okay, I gotta look that up.
It's a grass, yeah. Well, obviously it's a grass. It's out front.
Got it.
It's there. I can't wait to pay the guy to do the lawn. I'm ready.
Right.
And can afford it.
Yes.
I was planning these senior citizen homes, right? And they shut them all down first.
Yes.
And then they called me 2 days ago and said, we're doing all of them by Zoom. You're going to be on TV. And 48 units, rooms are there. And you can do 2 and 3 at a time.
Wow.
Come on.
Wow.
This is just confirmation.
Yes.
Nothing is coming near thy dwelling anyway.
No.
So Constant launched me into this. So I'm like, I'm launching. I'm having a ball. Please keep going.
Yes.
We might have to do overtime.
I have an after party. Yes.
Yeah, the after party.
Reverend Sherry.
Yes.
Let me just say, I took an opportunity to go on Fillmore Fellowship. Oh my God.
Yes.
That's such a wealth of information.
Yes.
I mean, you could study for years on there.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That is truly a blessing.
Yeah, you're talking about truthunity.net, right, Brenda?
Right, I did that, but how I got in, I just put in Fillmore Fellowship, and then that brought Truth Unity. And I mean, all the Bibles, all the books, anything that you could think of is there, and it's free for the having. Oh my God, thank you so much.
and please, he does this as a public service, because he periodically, every couple of years or year or so, he'll go to the Unity archives and get stuff that he then brings back and makes available for free. And the Unity archives are amazing. If you ever get to go to Unity Village, go to the archives. Like I was amazed by all of the stuff that I saw there. And so he literally goes there, digs and gets some good stuff, brings it and puts it back on Truth Unity. So a lot of the old school Unity, Charles Fillmore's, there's some recordings of Charles Fillmore. You can go hear him teaching in his own voice. Myrtle Fillmore, same thing. Those are there, and it's a treasure trove. So
I thank you so much.
That it's a nonprofit, so you can donate to truthunity.net. So definitely, as you use it, definitely donate to it.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Xandra, were you going to say, I know you were asking for clarity, but was there anything else?
You cleared it up for me.
Okay.
When you said it, you cleared it up.
Cool. All right, wonderful. Well, thank you guys for tonight. Welcome back. I'm so grateful to be back, and I think it's perfect timing. And so if there is a scripture passage that you want me to focus on for the metaphysical interpretation, please do that. What I want to give you is this week, I want to give you what your homework is. So what I would love for you to do is to develop some affirmations, and I want to focus on them next week, and we'll do it at the top, maybe take 5 or 10 minutes at the top. Affirmations from this passage. Like, if you can just do some journaling on this passage from what we talked about tonight, and come up with some clear affirmations. Like, what's your rule? You're at Marah, you're working through whatever your thing is. What's your new global rule for how you're going to run your life? There, it gives you what theirs was, but what's your Marah? What's your specific thing that you're working through that you're going to develop a global rule around to move forward now and to carry you through this season and beyond. Thank you.
It's Zosia. It's Zoysia.
Zoysia. Okay, I'm going to look that up. Zoysia.
Z. Thank you.
Got it.
I just got a question in terms of how the operations of the classes. This is our first night through invitation of Constance. And I didn't know if do you send out some type of link is before you meet, and to ensure that we have the right Zoom number, or what is how do we make sure we're in the loop?
Sure. So let me give you my email, and so I can put you on the email list.
Okay.
You send me an email at revsherry@upchurch.org. So REVSHERRI at upchurch.org, upchurch.org. And I will add your name to the mailing list.
Okay.
I don't send out a bunch of mail. I send out one email to just let you know what's going on. And then I usually send a reminder on Thursday to say, hey, don't forget we're meeting Thursday night. In general, we don't take a break. I had this break at the beginning of the year because I was teaching for seminary, but in general, we only take off for holidays if like the holiday falls on a Thursday, like Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed my session tonight, and thank you very much, Constance, for inviting us.
Thank you guys for being a part of tonight. This was awesome.
Yeah. I will say I'll commit until we go back to work and see how it works from there. But once again, I really enjoyed it. This is my first time really being exposed to the metaphysical side of it. So I really am enjoying it.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. You guys have a blessed night. I bless you to be peaceful this week and to just know that God has this. I mean, I know you know this. I know this is not that group. I know you guys know that. But for you to just be in that space of knowing that you're divinely protected and that your word controls your world. And so to really speak the word for what you want, pray over the food before you pick it up out of the grocery store, pray over the mail before you get it out of the mailbox. If you got to get a package shipped to you, your word is your control, right? And so you want to use it in this time period to prosper you and to protect you. Rather than to be a weapon against you.
So the exact book that you was getting that from, that's on the website Truth Unity.
Yeah, so when we pull up the definitions from the Metaphysical Bible Bible Dictionary and the Revealing Word, the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary is a dictionary of proper names, and the Revealing Word is a dictionary of common names.
Okay.
So they're two different books that have basically have been they've been compiled after Fillmore's
Different
life.
from this.
Yep, exactly. So that book is on Truth Unity, but it's completely hyperlinked.
Right.
So even inside of the definition, if you find like it may have you'll find a definition, it'll say something on Jehovah. Even Jehovah inside of a definition is hyperlinked to the definition of Jehovah. That's how the site is just really, he's done an amazing job. And then a couple of books that are good for your library are, hold on, they were propping up my camera. Is Hidden Mystery, The Hidden Mystery of the Bible, Jack Addington. The latest version I think has a different cover, but The Hidden Mystery of the Bible. And this one just goes, it has a lot of, it supports the stuff that Fillmore does, even though he wasn't officially a part of Unity. And then Wisdom for a Lifetime, Alden Studebaker, for the speaker view. Wisdom for a Lifetime, Alden Studebaker. So these two are books besides the Revealing Word and the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. The other books that I'll talk about as we go, and because when you're studying scripture, you also want to make use of like a concordance, of a Bible atlas, things like that, because that helps give you a context. Now, I did all that research ahead of time, like what was going on with the Israelites, where were they coming from, where were they going to, what was happening during that time period. Those things, the commentaries are amazing. I'm in the process of building out my commentary library. That's an expensive endeavor, but it's worth it. And so you can build out your library with reference materials. Commentaries, which I think are very rich and very worthwhile. They're the ones that are non-dogmatic are the only ones that I haven't been able to find online, meaning a free resource online. There's some like the Matthew Henry commentary. There's tons. Yeah. Matthew Henry, all those tend to be, they tend to be slanted with a fundamentalist view, but the ones that I have, which is the Anchor Bible series, those are, they try to give you the information without the theology, without the, fundamentalist perspective, but I haven't found a free version of those online. So those I've been buying, and every Bible of the book has its own commentary in the series, and each book is about $25 to $40 a pop. Ooh. And Psalm has two volumes, Isaiah has 2 volumes. There's a couple of them, I think, that have 2 volumes. So that's multi-$1,000s, or at least hundreds of dollars to build out 66 books of the Bible, and especially the ones with double volumes. So those I've been building over time, and every time I get a little bit of extra money, I'll buy a copy of the one that I want to add to my library at the time. But those are very, very good because they have a ton of information.
And so what's the name? You call it the Ankle Bible series?
Anchor, like an anchor, like Anchor out to sea. Mm-hmm. The
Okay.
Anchor Bible commentary. Mm-hmm. And so maybe what we'll do is we'll have a class where I'll just go through the different tools, because it's also understanding how to use the tools. And I would say, a wonderful thing that you can do in your morning time is that you can take just one verse of scripture and just do a metaphysical interpretation of that one verse. And that will take you probably a good 30 minutes, and you can make it kind of a daily thing, and it will get your mind right. Awesome. All right. I'll let me go to 90 minutes. Sorry about that. Okay.
All right.
We won't do that. We won't do that again.
We will do that again. We will do that again. We won't do it again. We will do that again.
Awesome. Awesome.
right.
That was nice, man.
I love and appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. And I will see you guys next week.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.